What's up, everyone? Welcome to RacerXOnline.com. I'm Kenny Day. I'm with Fox Racing, and today I'm going to try to fill in for Chris Keefer. He's a legend. Hard to fill in for that guy, but I'll try my best. As you can see in front of me, beautiful machine, 2025 Yamaha YZ250F. Look, let's see, it's been a full year now, all new chassis. They adopted the 450 chassis. The bike is slimmer, a lot of changes made in 2024, and typical Yamaha style. Instead of making crazy changes over the first year, they just basically refine it, make it better, learn. I'm going to say they do one of the best jobs at listening to everyone. I think their R&D department is incredible. I know Chris Keefer is a massive fan of the Yamaha, regardless of how much he likes the 350, so he can come at me all he wants. But with that said, small changes to this new machine. We are at Fox Raceway today. You can see I'm in a long sleeve. We finally hit what I would say the good part of the year. It'll be cold, so we'll have good dirt today. Track looks incredible. I'm excited. So jumping into the small changes, it looks like we have some more suspension, linkage, stuff like that to, I'm going to say, improve the balance of the bike. There was some things that needed to be adjusted, very minor. I got the chance to ride the intro for the 2024 when this bike came out, and immediately it was such a new experience going from an older Yamaha that was wide in the chassis, wide in the tank, and then jumping on this where it was skinny. And it was just small things like pitching things, just trying to improve the balance of the bike. Throughout the year, I actually had the opportunity, thanks to Chris Keefer, to ride the same bike that we had the intro on, and he had spent a lot of time just trying to figure it out like he typically does. So I'd say personally, within 3 months' time with Chris doing a lot of testing on the bike, he found things on this bike that made it massively better. And it was small, subtle changes. I actually was very surprised that with just stock settings, with a lot of testing with Chris, little things like running the axle farther back on the bike, there was so much more stability in the bike, a lot more balance in it, and every time I brought it out here to Fox Raceway, I fell in love with this bike. So really excited to jump on this today with all the little small changes like the linkage ratio, updated suspension settings, those little things. Outside of that, if you're looking at the bike, you obviously get some small, new graphic lines, new shroud, new graphic on the fork. There is a new switch on the handlebar. There was some complaints of people hitting the kill switch. So all new switch here. That's going to be a good thing just in case you do have a small incident where you get a little out of control. You're not going to have that issue. There's an updated throttle tube. This is something I've always noticed on the Yamaha. They were always really close to the throttle body, so your thumb would rub really bad on the inside of the throttle body, giving me terrible Yamaha destroyed hands. So they moved the throttle tube over 10 millimeters. That will eliminate that. Moving on from that, we have all new updated tuner. There is the app that you can always go in and use, but there is updated settings in the tuner. In there, you're able to completely adjust the bike. You can change your maps, your shift points, all the above. So the adjustability of the tuner is, I think, something that Yamaha was doing for a while, and they've only improved that whole system. So pretty excited about that. Another update that I'm actually pretty excited about, the seat cover. This was something that I personally struggled with. I think we all struggled with, especially first day riding the 2024. It was very round and slippery. So monkey butt became a serious thing. So they have improved the seat cover, a bit more grippy, doesn't look as rounded. So excited about that. Excited to not leave here with some pain. And then moving on from that, small changes, like I said. It's going to be basically going out and trying to see what they learned throughout the year. And I'm excited to see if the balance is better, see how the power delivery is. We all know that the Yamaha is perceived to be one of the fastest bikes on the market. You can see it at any professional race or amateur race. This thing rips. So I'm excited to see how everything has come together, see if we have a better package, and we'll keep you posted. right, everybody, just wrapped up. A little winded, to be honest. I was having so much fun that I don't think I actually stopped. I just basically would stop and take a breath and keep going. Every time I jump on this bike, I enjoy it. I can't say enough about the power. You know, I think that's a Yamaha quality we can all trust in, we can rely on. The 2024 was still very strong, kept all those traits that it had before, but then the 25, I feel like they've improved it. Still has like a very aggressive hit off the bottom. You do still have to short shift the thing. I will say that's, if there's any negative to me, is how quickly you kind of have to shift. And if there was a little more linear power curve to it, to where you could run second a little longer to third, and the shift points would be easier to maintain, it would just make riding the bike a bit easier. But right now, at times you kind of have to ride it like a 125, where you got to be really aggressive. The power is there, believe me, but you do have to short shift it. So with that said, when I'm comparing power between the 2024 and the 2025, I do feel like this is better. I did talk to Stephen over at Yamaha about wanting to do some map changes. So we went into the app, we changed to an aggressive map, we stuck with the regular one, and then eventually I made a pretty big change where I asked them if they had a map that would get rid of the engine braking. So one thing I've always noticed about the Yamaha 250S, even though there's so much power, it almost feels a little bound up at times. You let off the gas, it kind of wants to go forward. And it just feels like it could be a little bit cleaner off the bottom, but I always get more of a bound up feeling. And sure, the bike is new and I'm sure it would come around, but we made the change. And ultimately, what it did to the bike was kind of what I was looking for. It freed it up. It almost made the chassis feel a little more free and easy coming into the turns. When I let off throttle, I didn't have as much of a pitch. And the bike just felt very good, planted. I'm going to use the word balanced coming into the turns. Like, I just didn't have engine braking anymore. So that was a really good quality. I'll talk to Stephen at Yamaha and try to figure out if that's something that we can put up on the website, and you guys can try it at home. But with that said, taking the engine braking out and being able to free up the engine a bit gave me a very positive feel to the bike. Moving on, like I said, the big changes that they did do were small refinements. So different linkage ratio, different settings in the forks, shock as well. Ultimately, what it did was it gave the bike more hold up coming into turns, coming out of turns. It still held up. I had good traction, and I didn't get the typical come into the turn, fork dive, come out, low rear. It eliminated that. At the end of the day, we had a couple of turns that had some decent bumps coming in and nice ruts. And what I noticed that with the new linkage setting and linkage ratio and the suspension settings is that the bike held up in the stroke. So even though I was coming into the bumps very, I'd say, fast and aggressive, and you would think that the bike would go way low and stay down, it would recover fast. It would stay up in the high part of the stroke. So when I got into the rut, I would just be in a good, nice spot to where I could just lay in and go through. It wasn't, diving too far or too less. So that was a big positive for me. Moving on from that, I will say something that I could really feel today was that the 10 mil that they moved the throttle tube away from the throttle body does give the handlebars a wide feeling. I'm small, so this definitely opened my arms up a lot. So, something small that I could probably adjust with bars. That's more of a preference thing. But overall, that was good. All the normal stuff with the updated switch was easy. Very simple to basically switch through maps. On other machines, you might have to hold the button down and you won't really be able to see if it's blinking or not, so you're not sure where the feature with this. You just push it, and the light's either on or it's off, right? You got the two maps, so I really enjoy that. Outside of that, man, what a great bike, honestly. I'd say a small thing that I would love to do to this bike, moving on, something as simple as just a pipe and an ECU and some race gas. You got a really, really competitive bike. So overall, I do think that this is an improvement. Like I said before, Yamaha loves to, not jump the gun and do something crazy, big change. They take their time. They listen to their R&D department, their race teams, and they have made a really good bike so far. Moving on, I think we'll just spend more time on this thing, do more things to it. I know I would love to play around with a couple more things, but moving the axle a little farther back, just little things, see if we can add more stability. But overall, what a great package. So before we leave today, I do got to say, I got to give a big shout out to the Yamaha crew. Probably about 6 laps into riding, I had a big one, had a big crash, mangled the bike pretty good. So big props to the Yamaha crew. They brought the bike back in, changed bars, you name it. We swapped front wheels, all the above. But man, what a great day. Really excited to get more time on this thing. Can't thank everyone else enough, and see you the next one.